The audit career path is one of the steepest learning curves in any corporate job. What makes audit unique is that at every single stage, you are mastering almost an entirely different set of skills, almost like switching jobs. In this video, I'll break down what you need to know and learn at each step from junior to manager, so you can clearly understand what's expected at each level. Starting out as a junior auditor, you're not just learning a new job. What is it that I need to ask for? You're juggling audit work and studying to become a chartered accountant at the same time. If you want to know exactly what that ACA qualification involves, get my free checklist, the link's in my description. In your first 6 to 12 months, you will start with the very basics, ticking invoices, tracing payments to bank statement. Maybe you're figuring out why a simple balance like cash has moved the way it has over the last 6 months. Technology is advancing. You might start reviewing work at an earlier level, but for now, we'll just assume that it is still the very basics. These small tasks, they might feel repetitive, but they really are the small building blocks that you need to build that whole audit puzzle. You won't see the full picture just yet, but hang in there. What you will start to get is a real feel for the business that you are auditing, how they operate, what drives them, what challenges they're facing. That insight is pure gold and will help you so much in your career. You're working on one audit at a time, and it just depends what phase of the audit you're at, whether it's planning, interim or year end. A lot of this video, when giving examples, is mostly focused on that year end part, so carrying out the actual audit testing. Communication is a massive part of your role, and it just varies day to day. Sometimes you'll be picking up the phone and calling someone in the client's finance team. Hi, could I get the bank reconciliation for December? Oh, yeah. And if possible, the supporting bank statements as well. This can involve speaking to some quite senior people in the finance team, which is just crazy as you are just straight into audit. Other times you might be working together in the office as a team and just emailing the client, or perhaps you might actually be on client site. So they might put the audit team in a room where you can all work together but easily access the finance team. Your experience will depend entirely on the audits you're booked to, the teams you're working with, the location, the stage of the audit. No two juniors' journey is exactly the same. Even if you start at the same firm and on the same day, it is likely you are going to have different experiences. As a junior, you will be allocated work and you are expected to own these tasks. You'll obviously get support, but what I really mean is that on the stand-up calls with the team, you will be giving clear updates. You should know exactly where your work is, flagging if you do need any support, and if you have capacity so you can do more that day, this is your opportunity to flag and let the team know. You really want to be building that trust early on. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about being an active part in the team's progress. Good attitude goes such a long way. You'll really build your sharp attention to detail. There'll be so much training in this year, but you need to be comfortable learning the firm's systems and just ask smart, curious questions. Don't hold back on asking questions. Everyone knows you are brand new. Being curious, asking for help, it shows you're engaged, shows you have that good attitude. It's the fastest way to build confidence and just speed up your progress. On top of all of that chartered accountant qualification I mentioned, you are managing that. You need to make sure that you can really balance working and studying, and that's where my ultimate ACA Starter Pack can help. Time management, organisation, planning, these will start to be skills that you really develop fast. And remember, you're working for a professional services firm. That means confidentiality, ethics, it all matters from day one. And this professionalism will follow you throughout your career. Feeling overwhelmed? That's so normal. Audit really does have one of the steepest learning curves, but it is so rewarding. Just stick at it. Every partner was once a beginner. That second year as a senior, it is all about building your confidence, technical depth, and over time, the speed to complete tasks, it will increase. There is no way at this stage you'll be able to test every single account balance that's of a lower risk. You might have done cash receivables in your first year. You might move on to payroll, operating expenses. So you're very much still learning. You can absolutely ask questions. But what you need to know at this stage is just how to really hit the ground running. You should already know now the process, how to document, how to just get started. That's the quick adaptation and confidence that you should have more in your second year. You're still expected to own the work you're set out to do. But again, it's giving now clearer, more concise updates on the stand-up calls. Now you should know how to manage your workload a bit more. So when you've got blockers, you can more accurately say if you've got capacity or not. You're flagging if there's any issues. You're still asking those questions. This communication just really keeps the team aligned, and it just shows that you are ready to just take on more responsibility. You're still probably working on one audit at a time, but maybe now you might have to close down points from another audit that you've worked on just alongside this. But it shouldn't really happen too often. You probably pass more of your chartered accountancy exams now. Your technical knowledge is building. You just kind of get it a bit more. You might begin to understand the why behind accounting treatments that bit more. It might now be a little bit easier for you to spot when something actually doesn't look right. Maybe now you might be able to move on to more of those higher risk areas. You're still asking questions. They're probably just a bit more specific. At this stage, hopefully you're coming and thinking of maybe a solution before you ask the question. So you kind of know what your options might be. Before I request information from management, can I just check my understanding of this audit procedure with you? You're still speaking to management. That questioning mind of yours, the ethics, is really maybe evolving into a bit of a problem-solving tool as well. Your work won't be perfect. There are always review comments. Hopefully now just less documentational. It is just normal. Different reviewers bring different perspectives. You still don't know the full picture, so you can't get everything. The key is just really understanding the point, closing them effectively, and just improving as you go. You're also now actually probably the first point of contact for the juniors. They might be testing something now that you tested last year, or you might be able to help them with the software, just smaller things. But now you can see you're really starting to maybe build your coaching and leadership skills. By your assistant manager years, which is typically 1 to 3 years in duration, you should now be a qualified chartered accountant. Once all of those exams stop, you are working full-time all year round. That means more opportunity for on-the-job training. As an assistant manager, the expectation now is that you really are owning your whole section. You know where they are, where the blockers are, where to flag any issues. You can absolutely hit the ground running. Again, still would not have tested everything. Every audit is so different as well. You are always coming across new things. Now, you're most definitely doing some of that higher risk testing, or even significant risk testing like journal entry testing. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Could you please send me your transaction listing from months 1 to 12 in Excel format? And if you could also please send across your opening and closing trial balances. Yeah, I'll be using this data to perform a completeness test for our journals entries testing. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. You really are expected to take the work from start to finish. That isn't always the case if there's so much left to finish and it's not possible for you to with the time that you have booked. But if it's reasonable, there's time for you to close down the review points. You might then have to balance more than one audit at a time just to get through all of that. It still is at this stage hard to see the bigger picture of the audit. If you've worked on the same audit for the past couple of years, say as continuity, your understanding of the businesses you audit should really be building. Coaching the junior and senior auditors is now quite a big part of your role. Give me about 15 minutes and then we can discuss. Those questions that are a little bit more difficult that the senior can't answer, most likely they are coming to you. You can provide them that guidance hopefully now with your stronger technical understanding and your past experiences. You might even actually be responsible for the feedback of a junior. You won't typically sign off as a reviewer at this stage, maybe in the 3rd year as an assistant manager when it's more of the assistant manager to manager transitional year. But otherwise, when you're helping the juniors with their working papers, you might spot things, fix any issues earlier, and just really give them that bit of help. What's key is that depending on the size of the audits you work on and the team structure, your experiences, again, can massively vary. On the smaller audits, you might be able to take on broader responsibility early on. For example, field managing. Maybe it's you leading the stand-up calls, coordinating the activities and the day-to-day of what goes on. It could be you that is ensuring that the team stays aligned. At this stage, because you have more responsibility, you're now maybe getting to know the managers, senior managers, even directors and partners, again, depending on the team size, that bit better. You could, at this stage, even be the point of contact for some key client stakeholders, like the financial controller, and it's your job to stay in touch with them to make sure you're keeping on track of all of the deliverables. So if you've got a request that you need and it's outstanding, you might be speaking to them to flag that and try and speed things up. Everyone's journey as assistant manager is unique. I personally fast-tracked my career to manager in 1 year and 9 months. That isn't the usual pace, and if you want my corporate success guide, sign up for free that you're interested in the link in my description. Leadership at this stage goes beyond technical skills. It's even about just being a real team player and boosting team morale. How you support and motivate your team, that goes a long way in keeping the audit on track. This role is crucial for really setting the foundations to then be able to manage audits, lead teams, and deliver a successful end-to-end audit. The jump to manager is all about leadership and strategy. Hi, how's everyone getting on? All okay? Great. You are now going from doing the work to reviewing the work. So you might at this stage have to still do some work if it's a very complex audit, But for the most part, you are signing off as that first reviewer. It's you leaving the review points. It's you that will then have to coach the juniors through and make sure that they've really closed those points out properly before you're happy that it can go to the next person. And thank you for the update on the journal entry testing. If you could make sure to clear all of my review points by the end of the day on Wednesday, that then leaves me Thursday to close down my points, make sure I'm happy, and then we can get that sent on to the senior manager for Fridays. Depending on your experience, size of the audits, you might have got some experience of that as an assistant manager, and there might be some responsibilities here that do, of course, overlap with the senior manager role. Planning here is really important as a manager. You are reviewing the audit risks and procedures. Now you hopefully have a better understanding of that full picture of the audit. You really understand this business, what their fraud risk factors are. You might even be able to refine now with your knowledge some of the risks and procedures. Maybe you're now even contributing to writing some of the audit plan. It's now almost definitely you putting together the work allocation, getting all of the resources booked to your audits, probably still attending and leading the daily stand-up calls, and just really coordinating all that communication between the team is your responsibility. Depending on the team structure, you could actually be the bridge between the team and the audit partner. You might be organising and be on the weekly partner catch-up calls, which is honestly so good for your experience and learning. Maybe you'll even be able to attend an audit committee, and after a few years, perhaps you can even present something. That's a really, really good chance to improve your communication skills. It's not just partners, there might also be other senior independent reviewers on your audit. You're working with EAs of those to coordinate diaries, get review slots booked in for those, making sure work is ready for them to review. They know exactly what's coming and when. You're also probably the key audit contact for any specialist teams, so the tax team, valuations team. You might have delivery centres working for you as well, teams abroad. You really do have a critical role to the audit, just keeping everyone up to date and things on track. Not only that, there's also now the full accounts process. You might be reviewing the first draft, again, responsible for all the different layers of reviewers and making sure those take place. You're probably the one escalating any potential misstatements. And then it's maybe you, depending on the complexity, asking management if they're going to correct this. Building your network, managing relationships, it absolutely happens in these manager years. And then you'll really start to see engagement economics here as well. Maybe you're overseeing the budget, tightly managing the code. As a manager, depending on the size, you maybe at least have a couple of audits going on at the same time. You really need to learn how to prioritize, stay organized, and have your time management skills in check by this point. This stage is demanding, especially that first year. You just start to learn all over again. Beyond the audits, you're still building your reputation in the firm. You may be also mentoring others, a people leader, or contributing to the firm's wider initiatives, maybe doing some hiring manager training and interviews, things that then just really shape the whole firm. There you have it in a nutshell. Of course, I could not touch on absolutely every single task and responsibility at each level. Everyone's path will probably look different. It's just up to each individual how proactive they are, what opportunities they really grasp, who they network with. Either way though, it is a steep learning curve. If you did want to learn more about the ACA qualification, my free checklist is available through my description. Let me know as well if you want to know exactly what I worked on during each of my audit years that led me to my double promotion. Comment and then I will add it to the description. In the meantime, like, subscribe, watch the video on how I actually did it next.